This is a shawl that I've hand woven on the rigid heddle loom, and Elfie's modelling it for me. I've woven it from hand dyed yarns and my hand spun yarns and some recycled silk ribbons. There's also a few bits of recycled yarns in there as well. Two partridges have moved in here lately. They've been mostly living in the farm fields next to the garden. This is a clip that I took a little way up the lanes where I was able to get closer to them. I hand weave some of my shawls in the brighter colours, but I also like to weave lots of shawls in undyed natural colours of the wools. Here I'm carding a blend of wools and silk waste, and there's also some alpaca and some yak fibre and camel, and also lots of plant fibres in there as well. This is a blending board that I'm working on to blend all the fibres together. I'm making rolags with the fibre, ready to spin into a single yarn. If you subscribe to our channel, you can click the notification bell to know when our next videos come out. And if you like the video, please remember to put a like on it, because that helps other people to find the video as well. Thank you so much. Coming up later in this video is Tea in the Wagon, which is some quiet time where we can kind of craft together and some time to work on unfinished craft projects if you'd like to join in. And it's also a podcast of some projects I've been working on too. The bullfinches have been spending a lot of time in the garden. They were right outside the kitchen window recently, so I took a video through the window of them. There were also two goldfinches with them as well, but I didn't manage to get any good video clips of the goldfinches. These are some bats that I've hand carded from hand dyed wools and hand dyed silk waste. These are all wools that I dyed on the campfire with Elfie last summer. I'll put a link to the video of us dyeing them in the description. And this is a yarn that I hand spun with some of the bats. I plied this yarn on the spinning wheel, and that's in this next clip here. The yarn is finished, but I haven't took a video of the yarn off the wheel yet, so I'll put that into the next vlog. These are some fairy bats and rolags that I made to spin a fairy yarn with. This is the yarn before I plied it. These are some of our finished skeins of yarn. The green one is Elfie's, one next to it is the one I was carding into rolags. The curly ones I was spinning in the last vlog. And this one is a finished fairy yarn after it's been plied and wound into a skein to take off the wheel. This is the yarn that Elfie was hand spinning in a recent vlog. She also carded all the roll lags that she spun. Elfie's hand woven some of this yarn into the shawl that she's been working on, and she's going to show you her finished shawl in the next vlog. I handcrafted this crochet hook for a customer. I forgot to video it in widescreen, so it just shows part of it, but it shows the part that I decorated. I burned the designs into it after hand carving the hook. It also has a big pom-pom on it and a bell. I love packing the goodie bags and the goodie boxes for patrons that are in the forest tiers. This time for the solstice, I sent papers that I'd hand dyed and some hand spun yarn and some hand carded fibres. This is some of the details and textures and colours close up in a shawl that I'd hand woven. This one's going out to a new home, being wrapped up, so I thought I'd take a little video of it before it goes. I've been growing lots of food in the polytunnel all year, and this is some rainbow chard. There's kale and cucumbers, squashes, melons, peppers and chilies. We picked the chard to make into pakoras, and we spotted lots of little creatures in amongst the plants. And we've also been picking lots of salads that Luke and Elfie have grown. These are the pakoras that we often make. I've wrote down a recipe for them. If you'd like the recipe, let me know in the comments and I'll include it into the description of our next vlog if you'd like it. This big earthen blanket shawl has gone to live with Sarah, so I've took a little video of some of the details and textures in it before I wrapped it up to go on its journey. Elfie's picking cleavers to make a herbal tea with. We make teas with lots of the other herbs and plants as well, especially blackcurrant leaves and nettles and lemon balm are our favourites. Welcome to Tea in the Wagon. This is the part of the video, I've only done one so far. This is the part where instead of speeding things up and sort of shuffling about with timings and things on the video clips, I just leave the camera running just for some quiet videos in real time, doing something creative, working on a work in progress. It's raining outside today and it's a little dull in here, so I'm going to light a candle. My tea today that I've made is pine needle, and I've put a little bit of ginger in as well, some root ginger pieces. I asked in the last Tea in the Wagon what everybody was crafting together, and we had a lovely response from people all over the world about what crafts you were making, what teas you were making, and books you were reading and music you were enjoying listening to. It was really lovely to read everybody's comments, and me and Elfie picked out a few to read out, and every time I do Tea in the Wagon I'll read out a few of your comments of what you've been making, and things like that, yeah, what tea you've made, and little things about you. So I picked out these few comments. One is from Maxine, and Maxine says she's going to be a granny again, so she's making a granny square blanket, and she said that each time I post a vlog she's going to make a magical tea and crochet together with us, so that's so lovely. And Maxine also asked, she said she'd love to see the flip through of the journal, so that will definitely be coming really soon. I'll probably do a vlog with more of the journal work in it. I heard from Diane, and Diane's grandmother is from Wales. She said she'd love to come back there. She's a weaver, spinner and dyer, and in the last Tea in the Wagon she was twisting the fringe on a new shawl that she's made. Chaos Spinner said they were watching while spinning and it truly felt like we were having a little visit together. That's so lovely. Katrina said that she's knitting a rainbow cardigan in Scotland, a brightly coloured one for summer. And Tally Turnbull said that the video reminded them of the late 70s, living in a rustic cottage in Galloway, keeping Angora rabbits to spin and knit. and now knits fair isle socks and little sheep to sell in craft shops in the Yorkshire Dales. That was lovely to read. Everybody's comments were so nice to read, and it was lovely to hear from you all and hear that you were also crafting as well. And it's lovely to think that we're all making together as a little community. It'd be lovely to hear from you again, what you're creating this time. What kind of things are you making, and if you didn't leave a comment last time and you want to leave one this time, it would be lovely to hear from you. What are you working on? What crafts do you love to make if you're not working on something right now? And yeah, what you do and whereabouts you are in the world as well. That's really nice to hear, where you're watching from. And are you making herbal teas or different kinds of teas, or what do you like to make? And do you have a favourite book that you're reading at the moment? Thank you so much for all the lovely comments and some really nice compliments. Thank you so much. Someone said that they would like to see more of the weavings and a bit more close up. So this is the weaving that I've most recently finished, so I thought I'd show this one for now. And I'd like to, on a nice day, set up like a little art gallery in the garden with all the weavings that I've got at the moment, to show some of the details on them. But for now I'll just show a little bit of this one. It's got lots of hand spun yarns in it and lots of hand dyed yarns in it as well, and then it's got these recycled silk ribbons running all through it. Lots of texture in it and little pom-poms. Majority of the fibre is wool, but it's also got some recycled silks and silk noils in it, and it's got some recycled scraps in it as well. The recycled scraps are all kinds of fibres, it's just whatever I've got in the box to recycle. Thought I would pick another angel card this time. So I'm picking one for everybody, and I've picked out this one. These are lovely little cards. You just pick out a little angel thought for the day. I often keep them in a little dish, and then I can just pick one out each day. That's the cards. I've been having a little read of The Wood in Winter by John Lewis Stempel. He writes really lovely books. He's a really nice nature writer, and he describes everything so nicely. This is only a tiny little book, so it's really nice to just pick up. I've read it several times and I really like to pick it up and read. It's got nice pictures inside. I've got a few of his books, but this is really nice that it's a tiny little book to read. I'll tell you what it says on the back about the book. John Lewis Stempel's The Wood in Winter is a beautiful piece of nature writing about the life of a wood in bleak midwinter, tying in old festivals and traditions which are so weighted with meaning at this time of year. He writes about why being in a wood in winter strips us to our essential soul, and how close encounters with the animals who thrive in this hard season remind us of our own deep connection to the earth. A wood on a winter's eve, no matter where you are, the snow is falling through the trees, is existence stripped back to the elements. It is the Ice Age returned in miniature. John Lewis Stempel is an award-winning writer known for his books on nature and history. He lives in Herefordshire, where his family have been farming for over 700 years. That's the book. These are the pieces that I've been working on lately. This is my work in progress, so it's lovely hearing about your works in progress, and I'll show you what I've been working on. These are just little patches that I cut. I didn't even measure the patches, I just measured the fabric against the first patch that I cut, and then I've just filled them up with little scraps of fabric that I will then be quilting and embroidering onto. So that's one that's finished, and it feels really nice. It makes all the fabric really even softer, and it's really nice to feel with all the quilting on it. I've quilted it heavily, and some I'll be embroidering onto as well, or appliquing onto. This one's got a little patch in the middle with this embroidery that Elfie did, and I thought it'd be nice to put into the middle of a patch, so I put that there. This one, again, just random scraps of fabric, and this piece here is just a piece of curtain lining, but I really like to see the stitches on the lighter background. It even had a tear in it, so I just stitched it back, and I put a tiny piece of silk underneath, a little piece of hand-dyed silk showing through to make a feature of it, because I wanted to still use the fabric even though it got a hole in it. And then the others, there's a couple of scraps from my mum's quilt making, and there's a little piece of an old skirt or dress down there. This was from an old pair of curtains. It was only a tiny curtain. The little curtain was in our truck when we lived in our truck, and I'd kept it, and I thought it'd be nice to put into a piece of work to keep it. And I've also got a little piece of an old blouse, a little piece again of my mum's quilting scraps, and this tiny little piece of vintage fabric. It's actually really hard to work with because it is quite loosely woven, so I have to quilt that down really well. This one isn't quilted yet. I've only just stitched down the pieces so I could take the pins out, and this one as well hasn't had any quilting done on it yet, I don't think, no. And this is all kinds of little scraps of old clothes, and a couple of little pieces from my mum's quilting, just 3 little pieces, and the others are all old clothes that had worn out bits on them that I could reuse the good bits and even the worn out bits, because when it's backed with something it holds it together anyway. This one is almost finished quilted, but I've just got a little piece there to quilt. And this one was clothes mainly, and a couple of scraps of my mum's again from her quilting. And I'm going to do a video soon showing my mum's quilts. My mum's an amazing quilt maker. In fact, she does lots of different crafts and arts, and I thought it'd be really nice to show some of her quilts. So I'm going to get them all out on a sunny day and hang them on the line, and I've already videoed some of the quilts at her house, and so I will put together a nice video of my mum's work and heritage crafts, a video about heritage crafts. These pieces I think I'm going to make into a bag, because I did think about them being quilt patches and stitching them all together when they're all finished into a quilt. But my mum makes really nice little square bags for me. That's one of them. This one's got lots of pockets around it, and she's done other ones that are just plain that I've got, and a drawstring one. When I say plain, I mean without pockets. And there's a little drawstring one and another one with pockets. So I thought it would be nice to make this. It'll be smaller, and they shrink in as well once they've been quilted. It sort of pulls the fabric in slightly, so it will be a tiny little bag. I had some little pottery bird beads in my bead box, and I've always got lots of tiny bells and little beads, and I put together this little piece. It's got a silk ribbon on, and I'll probably put that on the patchwork bag when I've finished it as a little bag charm. But I thought I'd show you that as well. Most of my bigger beads are recycled ones. I look out for jewellery in charity shops or on eBay that I can break apart and use the beads, especially if they're already quite worn or got a broken catch or something like that. And then I have a few of the bigger beads that are handmade. And then I've got lots of tiny little beads that I use in between, so I think that'll make a nice bag charm. I've also done some slow stitching of this piece. This is a panel for the front of a dress. I've got a dress that I really like, and it's getting a bit old, and it's fine to wear, but I just want to make sure that I've always got a nice dress of that style because I really like it. So this will be the front panel. There it is close up. I've only quilted around the bottom part at the moment, and that's got another of the little embroideries that Elfie did. Yeah, so it's all patched on. I've just drawn on a piece of calico, calico, and then quilted on top of it with the patches. So I think that'll be nice. And the whole dress won't be patched. It will be probably 1 or 2 different fabrics in the rest of the dress, but I just wanted to patchwork the front panel for it. And I've also got a few more little journals to show you. Most of them aren't finished yet. They've still got to have ribbons on and things like that. But there's one. That one's a little wrap one. It's got the wrap around cover, and this needs some kind of fastening or maybe a ribbon to wrap around it. This one's got the ribbons stitched on, so they just wrap around, because when these get filled in, I'm not actually going to work into these ones. I have got one like this, but I'm not going to work into this one. This one will go into the shop, and then it's got recycled pages inside, so there's no ready-made pages in there. Sometimes I do them with ready-made pages in some of them, and then some to collage and paint over. This one's all to be collaged into, and once it gets collaged, see, it sort of sits thin like that at the moment, but once it gets collaged into, it'll open right out. I've left plenty of space between the signatures so that it can open right out, and then the ribbons can tie around, hold it all together, because when the collage gets added, it just fills it up. So at the moment it looks thin, but that's the actual binding on it there, and it will sit like that once it's full. So these are little landscape journals that I've painted, ready to work in. This one is a little piece of slow stitching that I did with some fabric that I dyed and loads of scraps of fabric that I just placed on randomly and started stitching and embroidering onto. And that one has a few decorated pages, but most of them are for collaging onto, and again that will sit much more open once those pages are filled up, and I'll be either putting a little fastening button on it or a little ribbon to wrap around. Another one. This one hasn't had the ribbon stitched on yet. And that one's all for collage. This one hasn't had the ribbon stitched on yet either. That's the little bit of slow stitching I've done on that one. And it's got a little bell on it. I'll put them into another vlog when they're finished and when they're going to go online. But at the moment they're still a work in progress that I've been working on. There's another little landscape journal. And then there's a tiny little one with a button. Handmade the button and hand painted the cover. So that one might not go in the shop, I'm not sure yet. I might keep that because it's so tiny. So that's some of the things that I've been working on, and I'm going to do some slow stitching now. So yeah, so if anybody wants to join in and do some creating together, I'll just keep the camera running for a few minutes, just for a bit of quiet time. By the way, sorry if it's noisy in the background on some of the clips on this one. They're silaging at the farms all around, so the trucks are up and down the lanes pretty much all the time, and you can hear them out in the fields as well. They're trying to get it all in before the rain sets in. Today I've been working on several jobs. I've been washing fleeces ready to spin. I've been hand spinning some stuff that I'd already washed, and then setting the twist on some yarns that I finished a few days ago. And I've been doing some work in the garden. It's always full on at this time of year, keeping everything going to grow the vegetables, and working on some orders as well. So I thought I'd have a few quiet minutes in the wagon and record Tea in the Wagon, because I missed it in the last video. I wasn't able to get it recorded before editing the last one, so I thought I'd put one into this one.